The Board of Education acknowledges that we are on the traditional territories of the Comox First Nation. I would like to thank them for the privilege of living on their land, and the gift of working with their children. I'd like to share that we're having some technical difficulties tonight. So this meeting is being recorded and not currently live streamed. And we're going to do our best to get this recording up at some point. So that's information for the people that are in attendance here today, as well as the people who can watch this meeting, hopefully in the future. First off, I would like to breathe. Thank you. I'd like to move. The first thing is the adoption of the agenda that the Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, adopt the April 25th, 2023 board meeting agenda as presented. Can I have a mover of that motion, please? Thank you, Trustee Vice Chair Leslie. And a seconder?
There's a change to the recommendations to say. Is that?
I think if we second it, and then Q and Trustee Howe.
Yeah, just the under for unfinished business, the second recommendation, it should read that the board requests the superintendent rather than consider it.
I want to set the only change. I believe that was the change. Yes, anyone. Okay. Are there any other additions or adjustments to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the amended agenda, please show. Carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the board meeting minutes that the Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, adopt the March 21st, 2023 regular public board meeting minutes as presented. Can I have a mover for that, please? Thank you, Trustee McAlpine. A seconder? Trustee Aldinger. Happy birthday, Trustee Aldinger. Thank you, Chair. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Show. Thank you. It's carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to unfinished business from our last meeting. We once again, I think, want to thank the Comox Youth Climate Council for their presentation to us and the thoughtful and passionate work that they are doing. We have two recommendations, and the first is that the board prepare a thank you letter enclosing the Fostering Environmental Stewardship Report written by Director Collier and Director Esselgrave. So we trust you to that. Second, Trustee McAlpine. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please show. And next, the second recommendation is that the board requests the superintendent to send a letter to municipal partners and the Comox Youth Climate Council, inviting them to participate in an energy management recycling conversation. Who would like to super chat? That was quick. Chrissy, how you moved it, and Trustee McAlpine, you seconded it. Didn't quite figure out who's happened faster. Would anybody like to speak on this? Okay, seeing no speakers, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the record of in-camera meeting minutes and reports. March 21st, 2023, a regular in-camera meeting. April the 11th, 2023, a closed committee of the whole meeting. And next is the board chair report. Many Comox Valley schools recently celebrated Earth Day, holding events throughout the week. And I would like to take a moment to reflect on our district's commitment to environmental sustainability. Global awareness and environmental stewardship are key values for Comox Valley schools. Our board understands the importance of taking action to address the urgent challenges facing our planet, and we are proud of the efforts that we have made to reduce our ecological footprint. School District 71 has implemented a range of initiatives to become a more environmentally conscious organization, including waste reduction and recycling programs, investing significantly in energy conservation efforts, and providing support for alternative transportation options through active travel planning. We have also prioritized education on environmental sustainability, offering numerous programs and initiatives that help our students become responsible global citizens. I urge all members of our school community to continue to take action to protect our planet. By working together, we can make a difference and create a brighter future for ourselves and future generations. I believe we can build on our successes to date. Thank you for your ongoing support of our efforts towards environmental sustainability. That was nicely shared after the information regarding our group that presented to us at our last board meeting. Presentations and delegations, we do not have any tonight. And permit for information only. And a reminder about the important topic of our 2023-24 budget. There is an open committee of the whole meeting scheduled for May the 9th at 4:30 p.m. here in the school board office. Next, we're moving on to strategic directions, and Superintendent DeMayo, over to you.
Thank you, Shirley. Just being handed out right now by the assistant superintendent is a district news, and apologize, didn't get in our package. Just draw your attention to a few very nice news items. On the first page, if you take a look, Books for Brains sent home 3,500 books. It's a organization. It's Comox Valley Business located in the Comox Center Mall, and they have provided every student in kindergarten and grade 1. So thank you very much. Good news on that. But just below, Mosaic donates logs. If you happen to be past GP Vanier, it looks like a bit of a log sort at this point with so many logs being donated. And so District Principal of Indigenous Edwards Carls will be working with Carver Everson. We'll be turning these logs into totems and other works that will be located at schools throughout the district. So really exciting time, and we're so grateful that that those were donated. On the next page, Highland's news play, Concord Floral, was chosen as the outstanding production at the North Island Zone Festival, and this is a special preview of this one-act play, Tuesday, May 2nd. Mark your calendars. 7 o'clock, enter the performance by donation. The show runs about 60 minutes. So congratulations to all the students and directors and staff at Highland for putting that on. And if you do get a chance to see it, it'd be worthwhile. Our own Director Collier was a judge at the recent, and I'm gonna turn this over to you, Director Collier. That's exactly what I was gonna say. And maybe you could just give us a brief overview of what the competition is.
It's a speech contest that is offered every year for French immersion students around the province. And we had our local top students from all 3 schools participate just before spring break. And there are some people going on to other competitions, I believe. Is there a name?
So we have, no, we don't have individual names.
Okay. I'm sure that would be later then.
Yeah, but congratulations to all those who are participating. Here's one, we talk often about success in athletics that our students and teams make. This next one, the recognition to a Comox Valley student, Unya Palmer, a 16-year-old, grade 11 at GP Vanier, and captain of the Comox Valley Wrestling Club, brought home double gold at the Canadian Wrestling Championships, the best in Canada. Not 1 gold, but 2. So congratulations, Unya, on your success, and once again for all the coaches and parents that support these athletes as they go through. Springtime cycling is back, and there's a little write-up of all the cycling program. It's for all grade 4s and 5s, supported by Comox Valley School Cycling Coalition in partnership with the SD71 Environmental Outdoor Learning. And they're driven by a few schools, and you'll see that trailer early in the morning, unloading bikes and getting students prepared. So thank you very much and congratulations. So that's the second item that I'd like to just update the board on is a trustee remuneration committee. A motion was passed in February. And just to let the board know that currently have completed the research portion of that and pulled in all necessary information, and we're just finalizing our committee, trying to get a hold of a few members to sit on that committee. It is my hope to be able to report back to the board at the latest at the June meeting, at the latest, hopefully earlier, but that is my hope at this point. Feeding futures, page 9 of your package. So as everyone is aware, very, very exciting news. And it was a briefing note, the government has committed $214 million over the next 3 years. For next year, SD71 will receive $1.14 million. This money is to address immediate need to feed students in a stigma barrier-free manner. Funding can be used for food purchases and staffing a position of 1.0 district level food program coordinator. Further to that, the committee that was struck earlier in the year on the student affordability, which our Director Lamro will talk about in a minute, is being morphed into a feeding futures group, and the first meeting of that group will be May 4th. I know there's a lot of excitement in our community regarding this initiative, and we're very, very thankful. And now the work, I never thought there'd be so much work when you think about how to spend this amount of money, but it will require some planning. We're looking forward to input. As I say, our first meeting is on the 4th. So we will be reporting back to the board once that committee starts working. I'm going to ask our Director of Inclusive Services, Lamro, to talk a little bit about student affordability fund, and I do believe there's a briefing note in your package on page 10.
Thank you, Superintendent DeMeo. Oh, yes,
Yeah, no, it's very confusing.
no worries, it's all good. The briefing that you guys have, a lot of the information at the start is from the original briefing that you got a few months ago. All I did was update the actual expenditures and where we have been spending the money. And you can see that on the first page. The part that's really exciting is when the committee first met, the 2 areas that they kind of looked at were food and then school supplies. And one of the things that we're going to look at with the steering committee coming forward is being able to hopefully use some of the carry forward from the student affordability to help offset school supplies for our students for September. And the joy we have is having this information from the ministry front loaded means that we can work with our schools right now. And I know Director Collier and Jay are working with the secondary and elementary schools to be able to collect lists of what normally is being collected for elementary versus secondary. And it is very different because primary will have different supplies than intermediate, which will be high school. But by collecting all that information and hopefully putting a huge order in at this year, so that for the start of September, we've offset family costs with all of the school supplies. And the reason for that is we're hoping that the Feeding Futures and in discussions with the steering committee will then take over all the food components. And like Superintendent Camille mentioned, by being able to hire a full-time foods coordinator, that will be able to organize everything. So it's really exciting at this stage. That's what we're looking to do. And like I said, when we get the information from Director Dixon and Director Collier from the schools, then we'll put in a massive order to be able to offset school supplies for our students.
So that planning is something that you recall last year, one of the things we heard right away is this would be great for supplies, but the funding didn't come until 30th of September. Well, now we have an opportunity. And so we're excited about that. We've got some of our PVPs working on that with our directors to finalize what exactly is this going to look like in terms of supplies, what do we need? And then once we've established that, then we can communicate that back out to our parent community in preparation for the fall. So.
Are there any questions for the superintendent? Either of those 2 points.
Yeah, I just had one clarification, and I know the answer, but I just thought that I would just state it, because some parents have been asking. If the community list monies were being affected by the disbursement of any of these funds, and my understanding is that it's not.
It's not, like, we are so fortunate because with the 3 funds, there will be a substantial amount of money to offset costs of parents.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of just quick questions. First is, I think Director Lover said that the district is thinking about using some of the new funds for a coordinator for next year.
So there's 2 funds. One is the Feeding Futures, and part of that one of the descriptions from the ministry is you're allowed to have 1 FTE equivalent to become the coordinator for this fund.
And the district's thinking about doing that.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other question is in relation, same fund, the school, the futures fund. With respect to pulling together the same stakeholders as the student portability fund, did that include representation from our community schools, because they
Yes.
they have
Yes,
a lot
we had
of involvement.
They had a representative last time that sat on that table as well. And we did have some separate meetings with community schools afterwards, just because of the uniqueness of what they were offering, and we'll continue to do so, for sure.
Any other questions? Today, oh, great. Superintendent Daniel.
And the last thing in front of you, you'll see an equity scan update, just a graphic and sort of shows the time frame of it and just what's been going on. We've had lots of discussion in conducting the getting baseline data, trying to gather information. Where are we right now? So our leadership team, principals, vice principals, excluded staff, have spent time working through these activities. This is based on the activity that the steering committee went through in Campbell River earlier this year. In our February district Pro D Day, Director Collier ran the activity with some teachers and some support staff. Our assistant superintendent Manning conducted this with our student district student advisory group council. And the equity scan steering committee is also at the very, very early stages of discussions regarding data collection in form of a system-wide, community-wide survey of some form. As well, we are looking at creating a data collection process in our community. So an outreach event. So lots going on. Our equity committee meets again next week. Next Thursday, I think, yeah. We meet again, our steering committee.
May second.
Sorry, Monday,
May
May 2nd, we meet again. So that's just an update for trustees.
Yes, to our superintendent, just out of curiosity, do you believe that the working plan would be sort of presented or shared sort of at the end of this school year or the beginning of the next? Or it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Okay,
It's really hard to say.
okay, no worries, just curious.
So we have no further questions. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to briefly talk about last month, right before spring break. The board was presented with some amendments to the district calendar. Those amendments are listed in the briefing note on page 12. That was put out on our district website for 30 days, 34 days actually. And it was put up there for comments from the public. The briefing note that's in your package tonight does say that there was only one comment received and it didn't have anything to do with those dates. I just wanted to update the board that we did receive a comment yesterday. And it was in reference to hardships for parents coming up with daycare on that first day of school. But I believe that's the only comment we received in the 34 days. So it is still a recommendation that the board approve the amendments, and you have a couple of motions before you this evening. Does anybody have any questions on
And when we remove an instructional day, is there someone who checks that we still have enough instructional days in the
I actually do that. And this year, due to the fact that we had 5 extra minutes in this current year to make up for instructional time, if we maintain that exact same time frame for next year, we have enough to make these moves. So we are meeting our instructional requirements.
I'm happy to make a motion that the Board of Education of School District approve a non-instructional day in lieu of the stat holiday reconciliation day on Saturday, 30th, 2023, in order to be in line with the stat holiday.
Further discussion? Carrie, thank you. Is there a trustee that would like to make the second motion?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that too. The Board of Education of School Districts of England from Lost Valley approved moving the August 31st, 2023 non-instructional day to September 5th, 2023. This will make the official first day of school with students in session September 6th, 2023.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carry. And then
Thank you. I just have a quick enrollment cross-boundary update. We continue to grow in our enrollments and feel very confident that we will not only meet our projection, but pass it. And we have, I know that now it is a time when parents get anxious around cross-boundary requests. We just went through all our staffing process last week, and all the cross-boundary requests that we were able to accommodate have been approved. They've just been emailed to principals today who are notifying those families. And then we will hopefully by the end of this week be able to notify those parents who were not approved. And all of those non-approvals were based on space and the fact that there was no space available to accommodate those, and they didn't fit within one of the criteria that we list in terms of having sibling already at the school, or school was closed, or ultimately if there was space at the school. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. Turn it over to the secretary.
Thank you, Chairperson. So the first item in my report is just an update regarding the provincial budget consultation with select standing committee. So we did submit to present to the select standing committee. We already missed the deadline, but we did manage to get in the presentation. We don't have a confirmation yet as to when the presentation will be, but the three topics that we will speak to are the K-12 childcare operating funding, also funding for energy management and climate projects for the district, and operating costs for districts that are having enrollment pressures, for example, portables, and other challenges. So we will prepare a written presentation as well as hopefully attend the meeting in Campbell River to speak to the committee directly.
None? Yeah.
And the next item on my report is just a conversation regarding the online feedback tool that's on the district website. We're hopeful that the public will review the budget package that's on the website and provide some feedback regarding that. So it's front and center when you open up our website, and we really welcome any comments or feedback from the public regarding the 23-24 budget.
Hands raised.
And so then third item on my report is just regarding our partnership with the town of Comox and the dog park that's on a portion of the former Comox Elementary School. So we're continuing to work with the town of Comox. They are looking to do some temporary upgrades to that site that wouldn't affect any future visibility, but you might see some benches and maybe a little watering dish for dogs there or something coming up. So they're very, apparently it's getting well used, and it's a good example of how the district works with our municipal partners to enhance services in communities. That's my report.
Very much. Next, I'm going to turn this over to Vice Chair Leslie for retirements and recognitions.
Thank you very much. We have a significant number of people who have given many years service to our district, and I am so thankful for that. Sharon Woodley and O.L. Clerk with Knives is retiring effective May 31st, 2023, after 33 years of service. Elizabeth Phillips, Senior Administrative Assistant, the IT Department, retiring effective July 15th, 2023, after 16 years of service. Anne-Marie Lewis, Teacher, Aspen Park Elementary, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 28 years of service. Celine Gummer, Teacher, Valley View Elementary, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 31 years of service. Virginia Curry, Teacher Librarian, LRC, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 15 years of service. Sarah Hesselgrave, Teacher, Brooklyn Elementary, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 28 years of service. Elizabeth Sullivan, Education Assistant, Inclusive Education, retiring effective June 29th, 2023, after 32 years of service. Michelle Tyson, education assistant, inclusive education, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 11 years of service. And Gina Miller, senior custodian, Highland Secondary, retiring effective June 30th, 2023, after 20 years.
My math says 206.
I got you.
Okay, I was wrong.
Years of service.
Let's take the one. Thank you. And yeah, wow. Amazing certificate. Alrighty. So we have in our package, the open committee of the whole report for April 11th, 2023. The topic of budget 23-24. Is there a trustee that would like to receive this report?
Yes, correct. And, but I was just wondering if the board wanted me to do a quick overview of the meeting, or it's in the package for.
Sure, if you'd like to.
I did do a quick, so did you want to do that before or after we move the receiving report?
I think you can do it first.
Okay.
That goes nice.
Okay. So, the first draft of the 23-24 annual budget was presented at a committee of the whole meeting that was on April 11th, and there's a package in your board book starting on page 14. And just there's a report that kind of highlights currently where our revenue and expenses are. And so we're with increased student enrollment and additional funding from the ministry for the negotiated wage settlements. The district is projecting an increase of $10,067,703. And then along with the increased revenue, we have significant increased expenses. So we we're anticipating increased staffing, cost pressures regarding the negotiated wage and salary increases, potentially unfunded wage increases for exempt staff. Challenges regarding the supply costs are increasing, our program costs are increasing, we are projecting utility costs to go up, and along with our information technology costs and transportation costs. So while the 10,067,000 is a lot of increased revenue, we're projecting at this point to have expenses, cost pressures of $10,495,286. So a potential preliminary position that would be in a deficit of $427,583. But the qualifier, which accountants always like to have a little flexibility, is we do anticipate some additional grants from the ministry for the cost of living increase that was announced after the initial funding. The grant funding was announced for salary increases, and we're still waiting to hear about exempt compensation. I was at a ECPC meeting on Monday, and they're still waiting. They hope to have a decision on that for early May. So we're hoping to hear those additional revenues, which would help balance out the projected deficit prior to the next meeting, which is May the 9th. So we're continuing to work on the revenue projections and the expense projections, and we will have an updated estimate for the hopefully for the May 9th meeting. So, and I'll just touch on it quickly on page 28 of the board, verse 26. Is just more details around the cost pressures that we're projecting and then. So just kind of outlining where the projected revenue and the projected deficit, the cost ratio expenses come from. So, and we would, welcome questions from the public, and if there's any questions from the trustees regarding the report that was presented to the board. Questions.
Every and any opportunity. About our finances, thank you very much. So seeing no questions, I'm going to put the trustees with that the Board of Education of School District Number 71 from Morris Valley receive the full report as projected. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please show. All those in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Next, we're moving on to board business, and I do have, with your indulgence, one item to add from Trustee Mesa, who is not available to be here today. Well, she has sent me her a brief little report that she was going to give, and so I'd like to add that under the one item of the business. Everybody okay with that? Okay, thank you very much for your flexibility. And over to Vice Chair Lawson.
And this evening I have a oral report. There are four areas of conversation that the IEC spent a lot of time discussing at the last meeting. And right now it is the formation of the targeted fund budget and the process of consulting with the IEC and stakeholders in our community. And questions came up about the use of targeted funds and about the amount of targeted dollars that was spent on financing educators and ISWs. The discussion was detailed. Questions were asked about the teachers' salaries are being funded at a target, it's operational. Also during the budget process, there were members who had questions about process itself and wanted to bring in our Secretary Treasurer to have a discussion about their process and the district process. And thirdly, there was discussion about human rights, section 42 exemption, and discussion about hiring. And the district does have section 42 exemption, and it is for specific positions in Indigenous education. And a question was brought forward about hiring for all positions in the district having a section 42 exemption. So late discussion happened regard to that. And there was a date finalized Monday, May 2nd at 5:30, where the IEC was invited to meet with the board office. Yeah.
Apologies for being on my phone a little bit while I navigated the report from Trustee Asak for the Comox Valley Food Policy Council. Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Just a clarification, May 2nd is Tuesday. So there's one of them.
It's a Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday night, yeah. Did I say Monday?
All right. So I'm channeling Trustee Masak. Trustee Masak attended the April 14th Comox Valley Food Policy Council meeting. And has indicated that we are fortunate in our community to have so many committed individuals concerned about food security for children and our community. There are many questions and much excitement about what our district is planning with the amazing opportunity that feeding future school food program plan brings to the school community. And she appreciates the opportunity to sit as a trustee representative on this council, as food security is an important piece connected to this community. Were there any other trustees who had anything they wanted to share on their board business? I know that many of the trustees are off to be with their CSTA and November meeting this week. They'll probably be much more to report at the next meeting. So seeing none, I will move to board correspondence. And if you turn to page 41 and 42 of your agenda package, there is correspondence from the Comox Valley Regional District Chair, Justice Bessie Pepper, to the Board of Education.
Sure. So we had an invitation as well to present they're bringing all the municipalities together. They've asked each of us, district included, to present on our top 3 or 4 capital items, capital projects or projects that each of us is undertaking. So Director Hasselgrave and I will be preparing a PowerPoint for this and presenting that as well at that point in time.
When I see the invitation is for Tuesday, May the 16th, 2 o'clock. So we will coordinate our RSVPs probably collectively rather than individually. So we will engage many of your legislative services. We can talk about that at a later date. Is there anybody that has any questions or comments regarding this?
No, I think it's gonna be a good meeting. I'm excited for it. I sit on our commission, so some of the happening and some of the partnerships that are happening with Wonderland and other areas in our community, so we can get together and do together and hear what's happening in the valley.
I'm just checking, do we know if there's any questions that have come forward via email? For the public question period, really tricky. They
don't know where.
aren't active, and we have no questions in person for public question period. So on that note, would one of the trustees like to follow the motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn at 7:51. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Our meeting is now adjourned.
Do we want to move directly into